This second part of Chapter 8 deals with one of the most important theories in marketing, which is the adoption and diffusion of new innovation. Customers go through a series of steps in their decision to adopt a new product. And if you look carefully at this pyramid from the bottom, awareness, interest, evaluation, trial, adoption, and confirmation, this is extremely similar to the steps that consumers go through in the consumer behavior process. That was a 5-step process moving from problem recognition, information search, alternative evaluation, purchase decision, and post-purchase evaluation. So what we see is a close correspondence in the adoption pyramid to the consumer behavior process. Everett Rogers is the person who has developed the adoption model. His book, Adoption and Diffusion of Innovations, made it through 11 editions before he passed away. The underpinning of the adoption model essentially is that there are different categories of adopters that fall along a normal bell-shaped curve, where the middle of the curve essentially is the mean time of adoption. What you see is that there are 5 categories of adopters, and these categories of adopters have very unique characteristics. Innovators are the first customers in a market to accept a new idea. They comprise roughly 2.5% of the market. They are venturesome consumers, well-educated, younger, and affluent. They like to be the first to adopt new products, and because of that, they're definitely willing to pay more for the privilege of being first. They rely heavily on impersonal sources of information, meaning they rely on media, bloggers, magazines, and other sources of information. They are the gatekeepers to the next category of adopters, known as early adopters. These are 13.5% of the market, and they are also heavy media users. They tend to be concerned with social acceptance in their peer groups, and they rely on opinion leaders, and they themselves are opinion leaders, meaning that other people frequently come to them to advise them in purchasing products, say new snowboards, new consumer electronics. These early adopters are very credible experts in their peer groups. The next category are the early majority, which is 34% of the marketplace. These people are more deliberate and cautious in decision making than early adopters, and they spend more time making their decisions. They tend to come from the middle class market. Late majority follow the mean time of adoption. They are more conservative. They also comprise a big chunk of the market, 34%, but they wait to purchase until the product has become a necessity or because they feel pressure to adopt. Laggards are the last to adopt an innovation. They tend to be bound by tradition, and at the time that they adopt, typically the earliest adopters in a market are already adopting a new generation of technology. The factors that affect the rate of adoption of innovation are relative advantage, which essentially refers to the benefits of the new innovation relative to its costs. So for example, if we talk about a new product such as an electric vehicle, what are the benefits of that new product in terms of not needing to buy gas any longer? The costs of the vehicle include not only the actual dollar outlay, but also any switching costs or non-monetary costs, such as Will there be sufficient charging stations for me to fuel up if I take my electric vehicle on a trip? Compatibility refers to how consistent the new innovation is with existing behaviors and practices. So compatibility can mean not only standards. For instance, there are two types of plug standards for electric vehicles for level 3 fast charging, but also, are we used to plugging in our vehicles as a source of fuel, and is that consistent with what I'm going to expect to see? We can't get fuel at gas stations, for example, for our electric charging. Complexity is how hard it is to learn to use the new innovation. Radical products essentially require big changes in consumer behavior. Complexity is a very important factor in that ease of use is one of the most important variables affecting or predicting new product success. Trialability essentially means how easily can the customer try the product before they buy. This is one of the reasons that we see things like a 30-day trial period, samples at the point of purchase, or test drives that allow the customer to try on the new product before they actually have to purchase it. Observability refers to how visible are the benefits of the new product, both to the user as well as to other people. Some people say that the reason that the Apple products have been so successful is because they have iconic colors and styles that make them highly visible to others in the market. Products such as vitamins or new types of toothbrush bristles, those products are used not only in the privacy of your own home, but consumers themselves often don't know if the benefits are actually, if the product is actually yielding the benefits it's supposed to or not. How do we know that we have less tartar on our teeth, for example? Or how do we know that the vitamins are making us healthier? These factors often provide marketing implications. How can a company increase observability? How can they lower complexity? How can they improve the benefits of the product relative to the cost of adoption? So these 5 factors have very actionable marketing implications. That concludes Chapter 8.